think this is potentially the worst August reading I've ever had. I don't know why, but it just was. We're owning it. Welcome back, or if you are new here, welcome. My name is Katrina and I make bookish content here on this channel every week and then movie reviews here at the weekend. Obviously last week we had Disney vlog content instead, but bookish content is resuming right now. So yes, August reading wrap up. If you haven't seen my August TBR yet, I will leave it linked up above, and in a moment or two I will also link you my Bout of Books reading wrap up, because I read a lot of these books during Bout of Books, and not an awful lot the rest of the month, and I don't know why that was. I think I was just like completely decompressing away from school, and it just resulted in me not really being able to focus on any reading. So let's do as we always do and talk about the format that I read my books in. I read one ebook, but just basically the rest, 75% of this ebook. I read More Confessions of a 40-something Fuck Up, which I absolutely loved. I really, really enjoyed the first book in this series. I love the fact that they made it into a TV show. I do still need to post that book versus movie for the TV show Not Dead Yet, which is based on the book Confessions of a 40-something Fuck Up. But yeah, you'll know that I started reading this so long ago, and I finally finished reading it, and it's brilliant, and I don't know why it took me so long, but I really, really enjoyed this. I laughed out loud. I felt something. It was well-rounded and it felt good. And then something which, didn't feel all that good. I listened to the second half of It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover, because we've now skipped over any physical books because those didn't happen this month. I moved on to audiobooks. I listened to the second half of this during that Bout of Books readathon, so I will leave that linked up above there so you can see what happened that week. But yes, basically finished the end of this one. I wasn't particularly enamored with like how different the story was from It Ends With Us, and I didn't like either of them really. I'm not saying I won't carry on with any other Colleen Hoovers, because I know they are quite different, because obviously these two were very, very different from Losing Hope and Hopeless, but I just nah, not for me. But I think part of that problem was sort of the hype. And then we have one of my sort of most anticipated books of the year, so much so that I have to go through quite far back to actually find my picture of it. We have Talking at Night by Claire Daverley. I think on the audiobook they pronounced it Daverley, but as we know on audiobooks they sometimes pronounce author names wrong. And so this one, yeah, it was good. It was fine, but I'd seen a lot of people saying just how good it was, and I was really excited for it, and it was one of my sort of anticipated books of the year. It's in my 23 books I want to read, in 2023, which again, if you haven't seen it, I'll link that up above. But yeah, now I'm sitting here filming my wrap up. I'm not really sure how memorable it was because I can't remember a lot about it. It gives me kind of like, one day mixed with a page tune novel vibes, which is good because I love all the page tunes that I've read, and I really, really enjoyed One Day at the time. But yeah, it was good. It was like a solid 4-star read, but I don't think it was memorable enough to make it like a 5-star for me. So adult fiction, it's worth a listen. I did enjoy it, but not super memorable. Maybe this is the issue with my August reading, that I didn't read anything that was like, super memorable. Then a sort of mini short audiobook that I read on, I think, the first day of the month. I was definitely read this super early on. It wouldn't have been the first day of the month because I was in Yorkshire for Yorkshire Day, which was brilliant. But this one is The Honeymoon Crashes by Christina Lauren, which was great because Hayley was reading it at the same time. We're revisiting old characters, but we get to kind of like see them in a slightly different context. I do think that if you are planning on reading The Unhoneymooners, listen to that first, or read that first before listening to this, because otherwise you'll be completely spoiled for that. I think as well, I would say personally, I think you need to have read that one in order to really kind of get into this one, because there's a lot of like, oh, you remember when that happened, and I had to sort of scratch my brain and go back and think about what happened in the Unhoneymooners. And I think that if you're reading it as someone who's just listening to this, you'll feel like you missed out on an inside joke, or you'll feel like you've come late to the party, or you're in a massive group dinner situation where everyone knows each other except for you. And so I think you do have to have read the first one first. But like many Christina Lauren novels, there are some excellent kind of tense will they, won't they sort of romance / hookup scenes. And then there are some excellent actual hookup scenes. Christina Lauren, they know how to write a good sex scene, and I enjoyed that in this book. And it was a really quick listen to, so I listened to it all at once. And again, you know, can't go wrong with that. And then did I not do any non-fiction this month? Maybe this was the problem. Maybe this was the issue with my August reading. In the Bout Books readathon, I listened to a book, again, that I'd wanted for a little while. My library hold came up. I'd already had it from the library and let it run out. So my library hold came up again. I was like, right, this is the next one we're going to listen to. This is Margo Zimmerman Gets the Girl, Brianna Shrum and Sarah Waxelbaum. This was YA, queer fiction. And again, it was fine. It was a solid read. Nothing monumental happens. It's basically what it says on the front cover. It's quite hard to even say the title of this one without giving spoilers. But I think knowing that the book is called what it's called, you're kind of listening to it going, well, she's going to get the girl because this is the title of the book. But yeah, it was nice enough. There was some challenging of some stereotypes in there, which I always enjoy. And it was exciting to finally read a book that like I'd wanted to read for a while, and I hadn't read YA for a little bit as well. And so I'm kind of like, I maybe need to start consciously incorporating that into my TBR a little bit more. So it was nice. It was fine. It was enjoyable. Just like a solid, again, nice read. Is it something that I'm like, oh, you have to rush out and read? I don't think anything I've mentioned so far on my list has been that. No. I also am going to talk about a couple of part books that I read, because one of these I forgot that I'd read half of and was supposed to have read the rest of it by the end of the month because I had it from NetGalley, and I keep forgetting about this book, so it's a little bit forgettable. And this is the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, but because I'd actually read half of it, I think it's worth mentioning. And this is by Laurie Gilmore, and we've got all your very classic romance, cozy, small town, cafe inherited vibes in here. So if you are a fan of any of those tropes, then I think you will like this one. But I will update you on this one when I finish it, which will hopefully be in the month of September, if not by the time you're seeing this video. Keep your fingers crossed for me, please, because I keep forgetting to read it. And then I also started during the Bout Books readathon, so again, if you've seen that video, you will know this, You Could Be So Pretty by Holly Bourne, but I decided at the time I was definitely in the wrong frame of mind to be reading that one, because I've seen so many people raving about it, and all the Holly Bournes I have read so far, I have really, really enjoyed, and so I want to kind of give it a little bit more time. I was trying to read it in a Pret somewhere, perhaps in a Pret at Westfield, perhaps in a Pret at Bicester, and it wasn't kind of like gelling with me, and so I want to kind of sit on my sofa and take some time and read this one. So maybe this weekend, because this one doesn't come out until the end of September, 28th of September here in the UK. So hopefully I will get to this in the month of September. It is on the September TBR, which will be linked in the end screen for you in just a moment. So speaking of that end screen, please do let me know in comments what you read in the month of August. And if you can pinpoint exactly why my August reading was just not great, from an amount read point of view and a actually enjoying the books that I was reading point of view, yeah, please do let me know, enlighten me. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. I hope you enjoyed the honesty within this video. Make sure you subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on my future bookish content or my movie review this weekend. Yes, as always, thank you so much for watching. I will see you with my next video.